Hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about stuff. For those of you looking for a great way to secure your cryptocurrency and or give cryptocurrency gift cards, there's a Ledger affiliate link in the description below. While I do not work for Ledger, I am an affiliate. Therefore, the affiliate link. This is do you understand how weird it is to get this news every single day? Now, I'll say beforehand, I personally believe prices should obviously be a lot higher. I'm part of the we should be over $200,000 easily per Bitcoin at this point, but I understand market movements and dynamics and all those other things. What really gets me is that it's every 24 hours. If you haven't been paying attention, if you haven't been here, I know you can't catch every video. Got it. However, we had news, it must have been a week ago, a week or two ago, somewhere around there. Long story short, Michael Saylor, who's the head of MicroStrategy, announced basically that every other company on the planet was going to have to get it together or they're going to lose. Sounds dramatic, and it's because it is. MicroStrategy's stock went up by 3,000% in 2 years. For reference, you would typically see on like a good year for a stock, 7, 15, maybe 20%. We in crypto are used to 20% a week. So 20% in a year for any, like imagine buying a home. And year on year, the value goes up by 20%. You've bought the best home that there ever is. For a stock, it's not that normal. 3,000% is crazy. So then we heard from MicroStrategy, from Metaplanet, whose stock went up by around 700%, and another company, their stock went up by 400%. He basically said in that video and all the other things, he said that there are, I think, 12 or 14. I want to say 12. He said there are 12,000 companies right now, like floating around on different stock markets, who would benefit greatly, similar to MicroStrategy, from getting into Bitcoin. Just by a company announcing that they're adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet, their stock usually goes up by 100%. Just from that alone. That's not even including them buying Bitcoin and the valuation of Bitcoin going up by 2, 3, 4 times in the future as the price ends up rising. You get it. Since then, we have heard from a lot of new companies who are popping up all the time announcing that they're also, surprise, getting into buying Bitcoin. Remember how I always tell you, one of the weirdest parts of this space tends to do with like narratives. I don't know why people latch on specifically to one narrative, but I guess maybe it's human nature. I'm not really sure. So for instance, we will hear that Bitcoin futures are launching. Everyone pays attention to the Bitcoin futures. We will hear that this is happening with Bitcoin. Everyone pays attention to this one thing with Bitcoin. BlackRock gets into the space. Everyone only looks at what BlackRock is doing. That kind of thing is the same exact thing with the ETFs. No matter what, you see how like sometimes I'll bring you news that has nothing to do with the ETFs, but then you'll look at the news and like it's just like ETF news. I don't know if that makes any. The point basically being, the ETFs are going to absorb huge, massive amounts of Bitcoin by the time we get to the end of this year and the next year, and then it will continue essentially forever. The problem here being is that Bitcoin is not a stock. So you can't print more of it by having a meeting with a council and saying, okay, let's just make another 100 million Bitcoin. What there is what there is. So if we know that the ETFs, one ETF by the end of this year is going to have 1 million Bitcoin, MicroStrategy is going to have 1 million Bitcoin. This tends to be like what a lot of the news ends up being, the big players in the space. And then you also get news that Tether owns over 100,000 Bitcoin because Tether is super rich and they're buying tons of Bitcoin. And all the other entrepreneurs and all the other people and a lot of you It all adds up into more and more and more. If you missed one of the other recent videos, the amount of Bitcoin and Ether subsequently, of course, continues to decrease across crypto exchanges, as in like a daily period, we're seeing 300 million, 700 million, or $1 billion of that asset leave crypto exchanges on one day. So with all these new companies getting into the space, for those of you who don't know, they also have gigantimous aspirations. Not a real word. They want to accumulate as much Bitcoin as MicroStrategy. A, not possible because of how finite Bitcoin is. But B, their wallets are just as large and they're going to try and get as close as they possibly can. The problem there being is that Bitcoin is finite and there's not as much as people think that there actually is that's liquid. The other issue being is that there's new companies every single day who keep announcing that they're doing what MicroStrategy's doing. They also have the same size wallets as well. A new company by the name of the Basel Medical Group Limited has entered into exclusive negotiations because they are going to acquire $1 billion worth of Bitcoin in what they're calling a strategic move to strengthen their balance sheet and diversify their treasury. The announcement marks a significant shift in the Singaporean-based healthcare company as they're looking to blend digital asset investment with aggressive growth. We had another company recently as well who also announced that they're going to be initially, that's the craziest part, because imagine initially just having $1 billion to be like, yeah, I want that. They're all saying that initially they're going to be buying $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. And then subsequently, many of these companies are saying that 50% of their profits in the future will also be used to buy more Bitcoin. Now, riddle me this, guys. If we keep having these companies pop up every single day and everyone's buying $1 billion worth of Bitcoin initially, and they all want another, let's say, $300 million of Bitcoin over the course of every single quarter, and then we keep hearing that there's 15, 20, 35 different companies who are doing this, with new ones popping up every single day, not forgetting about the ETFs and the other whales and the family offices. Don't forget about those as well. You know, those wallet addresses that have been for years always buying, what do you call it? Always buying like 100 Bitcoin per day, 300 Bitcoin per day. You know, they're still doing that every single day, right? It hasn't stopped. And yeah, I know it's scary because they've been doing this for the last 2 years. Like they just kind of keep on buying. So, right. Whales will continue to be the largest holders of Bitcoin, as this is why they're called whales. The amount of Bitcoin on crypto exchanges continues to sink. We are going to, at some point in the future, see a $1 million Bitcoin. If that eludes you in some sort of way, if you can't imagine how, if for some reason it seems far-fetched or you just aren't grasping the idea, watch my last 3,000 videos. Actually, between both channels, it should be around like 5,000 or 6,000 videos. So that gives you enough content to be able to absorb, to really understand where all of this is going. I told you before in another video, part of the issue also is that like there's like 8 things like this happening daily. So usually on this channel, we talk about like one specific topic because there's something going on, but I'm also not making 8 videos a day. There's so much happening. There's so much buying. There's so much accumulation that's taking place within the cryptocurrency Bitcoin space. And I hope everyone is constantly paying attention. This is another new company who is announcing an initial buy of $1 billion. We are going to, either this week or the week after, hear about at least 2 or 3 other companies who are going to be doing the exact same thing. Keeping in mind, there's not enough Bitcoin for the United States, for BlackRock, and for MicroStrategy to get to 1 million. They each want 1 million Bitcoin, and mathematically they cannot get there. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day. Morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.